Hi, everyone. I am actually hanging out with Amy Gaggler. She is my new friend from Instagram, and I'm very interested in Amy's situation because her family is a very, very unique family. So, Amy, you want to tell everyone what your situation is?
Sure. So my name's Amy. I live in Lehi, Utah. I myself, I'm pushing 40. We don't need to get into details, but
Nope.
so I am around that age, 35 plus mom group. And I am on the autism spectrum myself. And to me, it's a blessing because it really helps me relate to my kids. I didn't realize this for years, but
Yeah.
through their diagnosis, I have learned a lot.
Okay, so my question for you, Amy, as a mom who has ASD and as well as 3 kids under the spectrum, should we work towards full disclosure of their diagnosis? And when do you think, is there a good time, a better time to tell them about it? What do
And
you
you
think
mean
about it?
disclosure to them, right? To make
Yes,
sure
yeah,
that's
to
clear.
tell
Okay.
them, hey, you have the diagnosis of
I
autism
fully believe
spectrum. Yeah,
in
so
that. I think, okay, first let me say there's almost always an extreme and an exception. I like to try to throw that out there, keep that in mind.
yeah.
But overall, my short answer, absolutely. And there is a better time and way to do it, in my opinion, but I think that is crucial. I mean, if not, it's like leaving out, hey, this is who your grandma is. You know, it's that big in my mind as a part of their
Right,
life. So
right. Because autism, being autistic is something that they have to embrace in order to be able to fully accept their strengths
yes,
and realize their areas of needs that our kids need to,
right.
and they can change, they can work towards becoming a better version of themselves, which is actually, as parents, that's really the one job we have as their moms, is to help them
Absolutely.
become a better version of themselves, right? So
Yes.
I agree
Yes.
with you. I think fully disclosing the diagnosis, whatever that may be, it's critical. It's just that maybe, I mean, do you do that when they're teenagers, or do you wait until they have the understanding before you actually tell
I've
them?
approached this differently with each of my kids. So my
Right,
oldest, very high functioning. There has
right,
been a point of time we can
right,
say, hey, you know, let's talk about this. And we have,
right.
and he knows about it. And it's almost a daily thing where, you know, I try to make sure I am frequently and consistently saying, hey, I hear you. I feel you. Me too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right,
Just because that's huge, having someone to relate to.
right.
But with my son Ryan, though, for example, he is verbal and he can express his thoughts and feelings, but he is not at a point to where I could explain that and it would be of any benefit to him,
Right.
not to discredit him. I know his abilities well, of course, you know,
Right.
but I think if there were to be a situation like say at McDonald's, you know, when other kids are in the playland and they go, hey, he won't, you know, respond to me, or how come he's not answering me, or how come he's going, ee, or whatever
Right,
he's
right,
doing.
right.
I think that's when I don't like to talk in front of him like he's not there. And that is so easy to do and forget.
That's very
But
important.
I try really hard to remember, even if they're completely nonverbal, you don't know what they are hearing or understanding. And, you know, of course, you know your child best, but that benefit of the doubt needs to be given that they can't hear you and they will be affected by that. So if we were to get a situation like that, say McDonald's, wherever, normally, no, right now, I don't feel like I could go and explain that to Ryan. I could in some senses, and he might understand it, but what he would do with it or what it would do for him is kind of anyone's guess, you know?
Right.
But if there were that situation, then at that time, I might find it necessary to break it down to his level and in a way that's appropriate for the situation to say, hey, buddy, this kid doesn't understand that, you know, you enjoy flapping your hands. Do you want to tell him you like it? Or, you know, maybe I might tell him, Ryan, this is, I don't know if I would even necessarily tell him then, now that I'm hearing myself say it out loud, you have autism. But I might kind of, if not explain to him he has a diagnosis, explain, not everybody does this and they don't understand it.
Right.
You can tell them, or you don't have to. I'm fine. I like doing this. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
Maybe I would hit something like that, but I would educate the other child as appropriate and necessary.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to go pull them into a corner and get a big discussion.
Right.
But hey, you know, maybe you know about autism, maybe you know someone with it, maybe not. Ryan here has autism, but I don't want to sit there and say that in front of Ryan like he's not there also privy to that conversation. So I might try to include him, like, hey, Ryan, does this make you happy? And so he could say, yeah, yeah, I do like to flap my hands. It makes me happy, to also show that child that, yes, he has autism, but he still understands and deserves respect,
Right.
That's a whole other subject, but that's
Right.
a big can I just opened, sorry, but that's what I would do if the
Right.
situation approached, but none of my other kids are at that point yet.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is that every situation, every family situation is different. You do want to approach it mindfully, whether you sit down together as a family meeting. Maybe you read a book together.
Yes.
Like a book club on
Right.
autism spectrum or disorder, and everybody reads a little bit at a time.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's a great idea.
if you have a teenager, sometimes I tell my clients that absolutely no searching on the internet, because they get scared.
Right,
to
that's
read,
overwhelming. I say I don't like to open a Google can, and I know exactly what you mean.
Make
and
it.
Too.
Yes, exactly. Make it a family affair. But I like your example of if there is a moment that you can spotlight and help that to relate to your child's possible diagnosis. That's also a good way, and do it privately. What do you think about actually hiring or working with other professionals, such as a counselor or to just have a third person for therapeutic relationships, so somebody neutral who can guide our neurodiverse kids? What do you think about that?
I think that's great. And I think, that, I think a lot of people hear counselor and they go, whoa, I'm not screwed up. But I think that's a general misconception, is that you have to have major problems or just be at the end of your rope, or, just batty if you're going to counseling. I don't think that should be the case. And it's kind of also just that whole stigma around needing any kind of mental health. But I think it would be good even if you didn't think they were having problems. Like, I don't have my kids in counseling right now. We don't have any major issues. But hearing you say this makes me think, that's always a good route to make sure that there's not, or just to make sure, because the third source is always good. Even in something as small as like, I need to tell them to stop in 5 minutes, but if I use the timer, they're not having it out for me. It's that third outside.
Yeah, exactly. Like a neutral or another confidant. I think that's really important. And I think for our neurodiverse kids, because of their learning challenges, co-occurring conditions, they do need to continue to work on those areas of needs. And it's really helpful if us, as the mama bears, have other teams, other people who could just help approach a subject and give ideas, So I think it's important also for us to be able to trust another adult to help us rally and raise our unique kids, right?
Yes. And that's a big part of it. That's hard to have that trust. And no doubt I don't need to tell you that is kind of intensified when you have kids with special needs, even if they're absolutely verbal, So, but when you say that makes me think, for teenagers, they could be having thoughts in their head that they're not telling you, or things they're struggling with, even just that they're, their body changing. And even if you talk to them about it, I think it would be a really good idea. Now I'm hearing you say it, to just have that going, just as another person in their life that's encouraging is never a bad thing, at the very least. But to make sure they have that source and there's not things going unhelped or unchecked.
Exactly.
That's a really good idea.
This was really, really good, Amy. We have to do it again. We have to do another topic. So you guys find Amy Gaggler on Instagram. I will upload this on IGTV and tag her so you guys can find her. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. I've been looking forward to this, and thanks for
likewise. No worries.
So awesome.